I was happening, y'all. It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and of course, I have final injury updates for both the Commanders and the Titans. Most notably, Marshon Lattimore is doubtful versus the Titans. That's a positive direction, but will he actually play? Should he actually play versus the Titans? We're going to talk about all of that. Also, we have some good Brian Robinson health news, and we got to talk about real quick why London Fletcher deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and also have a few other updates as well. But we're going to dive into some stats for the London Fletcher thing and more. And this video is sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Before we dive into everything, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get a notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Really appreciate y'all. Of course, I will be live streaming this upcoming Titans game. Right now, as I'm recording this, it is my birthday, November 30th, so I'm super excited. I have a few more videos I want to get out. I even want to do a video real quick for the Commanders Kings as well, but I am going to sit down and enjoy my birthday, so don't worry about it. But I just have a couple of videos to do throughout today, and then I will be live streaming the game on Sunday versus the Tennessee Titans. I hope they win that game for me as a birthday present. I was hoping the Cowboys one would be like an early birthday present. Hopefully the Titans one can be like a belated one. But either way, really appreciate y'all. Let's go ahead and dive into this video, man. Let's get it. Adam. And of course, I always try to avoid clickbaiting y'all. So I'm pretty sure, just assuming based off of the things that you see in the title, most people probably clicked on this video for the Marshon Lattimore news. We're going to go ahead and do that first. I would appreciate it if you stayed throughout the entire video. It'd be really helpful for my channel and everything. But I can't really clickbait y'all. Sometimes I do like clickbaity things like by accident, but it's never like deliberate. I'm about to clickbait these guys. Save the best information for the end of the video. So let's go ahead and talk about Marshon Lattimore. First of all, it's already been announced that he is listed as doubtful officially by the Commanders team for Sunday against the Tennessee Titans, and we play them at home as well. Remember, also, right tackle Andrew Wiley and Austin Eckler, as we assume, like I talked about in a couple of videos earlier this week, we assumed they would not be able to play against the Titans, and that has been confirmed. They are both recovering from concussion injuries. They have both officially been ruled out versus the Tennessee Titans. And then Dan Quinn even spoke on the Marshon Lattimore situation. He said he is, quote, closer, unquote, to playing, and they did not immediately rule him out, as they have in the past few weeks. Like, this is the closest we've gotten to Marshon Lattimore potentially playing. I mean, first of all, this is the first week he's actually practiced. My previous video, I showed you clips of him running around, doing shortcuts, changing direction things. So the hamstring actually looks pretty healthy to me. He was jumping up high, catching passes. If you haven't seen that yet, go check out my previous video, because I showed y'all all, it was like 2 minutes, over 2 minutes worth of practice clips of him running around and doing stuff. Go check that out if you haven't yet. So yeah, he's doubtful for this game, which is actually, like, usually when you hear doubtful, that's bad news, but that's good news based on how he's been so far since we traded for him before the Steelers game, and now we've been on a 3-game losing streak. It's like trading for him, but him not playing has equaled bad luck. Hopefully, once he starts to play, he'll equal good luck, and of course, he will make our defense way better, which will make our team way better, but we didn't start going on a losing streak until after we traded for this guy, and then he wasn't playing, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the team is playing like as if we traded for him. He had already been here with us, and then now we have an injured player, and he's missing from the defense. Like, I don't know. They're playing like they weren't 7-2 at one point in time. Like, we had no business losing that Cowboys game. I know this doesn't necessarily have much to deal with Marshon Lattimore, and I'm going completely off from the notes that I prepared, but even just the pure passion, like, that just boiled up in me when I just thought about the fact that, like, we were 7-2 before we traded for him, and the way that they've been playing these last 3 games, you would swear that he'd been on the team. He was with us all training camp and things like that, and then now there's like a hole in the defense because he's hurt. We never had him in the first place, and they're literally playing like we did, and it's like we lost something. You can't lose something that was never there for you, and Marshon Lattimore has yet to touch the field for us. But again, so far, this is the first week of like weekdays of practices that he actually participated in. He was limited the entire time. I don't believe he didn't have a single full practice all week, just to let you know. We're going to dive into that later, but still, this is his first week of actually practicing with the team rather than just sitting on the sideline, no helmet, stretching, maybe running around a little bit, doing some things with Benjamin St. Juste, talking to Joe Wood Jr. This is the first week he's done anything outside of those things that I just listed. He was actually out there with the team, so maybe there is a chance that he plays against the Titans. I would say it's unlikely, but again, this is a positive direction. Again, like I said earlier, doubtful sounds bad, But in Marshon Lattimore's case specifically, that's actually a great thing to hear. Because again, just like Dan Quinn said, it's been an immediate no. There's no chance. By Friday, we know no. This is the first time leading up to a Sunday game that we don't 100% know that it's a no. I mean, it's still very unlikely, but it's not an immediate no. Dan Quinn also gave like a full answer on Marshon Lattimore's status. He said, quote, in fact, we're going to huddle up now. We did 3 practices to get some space. We're going to check on the speeds and just kind of go all the way through it. We're pumped that he's certainly closer, but we're going to huddle up today. Well, as in yesterday, Friday, November 29th, and then end of tomorrow, which is the end of today, Saturday, November 30th, to see where exactly we stand. We got a pretty strong process to go through, and the player is part of that too. So we're going to make all the decisions, protect the team first, but man, is it good to have him back out there and getting going. I don't know what he means by back out there. He was never back out there. There's no back when he was never there in the first place. Either way, you can feel his energy about it too, unquote. And I love to hear that. Even Marshon Lattimore sounds like he's very excited. And I'm sorry if I'm jumbling up my words. I just finished. Again, I'm going into my birthday, and my Georgia Bulldogs just took me to 8th overtime. So excuse me if I'm all over the place this video. I was almost tempted to not even hit record until I took a nap after that experience. Either way, getting back to it. Shouts out to Mason Kinahan, because I completely agree. He said he tweeted that he's assuming that, yeah, he's not playing. Marshon Lattimore is not playing, and we'll probably just more than likely go ahead and hold him until after the bye week, unless they just really, really need him. So maybe say, hypothetically, based off of what Mason Kinahan is saying, I'm assuming this is what he's saying, but he didn't say this directly. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but maybe we hold Marshon Lattimore as an active player. He's not inactive going into the game like he normally is. He's active. And then at some point, if we feel like we need to throw him out there, maybe since he's active, we have that choice. Rather than going into the game inactive, he can't play either way. We'll see. Y'all already know me. I'm to the point where I'm like, just hold him until after the bye week. This Titans game does feel like a must win, but I feel like you should be good enough to beat the Titans without him. You should have been good enough to beat the Cowboys without him. In my perfectly honest opinion, I'm definitely in the boat of, I mean, especially since he's doubtful. It's not even questionable. We're talking about doubtful and you're forcing him back. And then there's a bye week. It'd be different if we played the Eagles next week or something like that instead of a bye week. But like, it's the Titans, and then you'll have a whole nother week off. You'll have 13 days to get ready for the Saints, his former team. Like I already said in the previous video, I feel like if anything, the script writers are trying to cook that up to where Marshon Lattimore makes his Commanders debut against his former team, the New Orleans Saints. And I believe that game is in New Orleans as well. Let me check that before I sit here and tell y'all a lie. Yeah, it's in New Orleans. I feel like the script writers are just cooking that one up and telling Dan Quinn, I don't care how healthy he is and how ready he is, do not play him against the Titans. We need those ratings to skyrocket against the Saints, because that, I mean, a lot of people probably assuming that won't even be a good game, but our game against the Cowboys should have been a good game. Whatever. Also, shouts out to my boy at Jaden Daniels MVP. He tweeted, lost 3 games in a row, so you could argue that we kind of need him right now. However, I don't know if he changes the outcomes all by himself from the previous games that we've lost, and that's a good point as well. Shouts out to at DC Sports Experience. Shouts out to him. Make sure you follow him on Twitter and everything. He said Commanders fans keep forgetting that Lattimore, that whole trade wasn't a rental for this year. The trade, like the season, is house money, especially like 2024 wise. Now, I do relatively agree. I feel like I'm sort of like in the middle here, because I agree with the fact that this is more of a long-term thing as far as the trade goes, but I also feel like on the flip side that they at least want him on a late playoff run, and to actually when we make the playoffs, play, you know, hopefully help us win some games there as well and take us to a Super Bowl, you know, going a Super Bowl run. I don't feel like they did this trade with the keeping in mind that he will not play at all in 2024. I don't think it was that way. I'm somewhere like in the middle. But leaving the Marshon Lattimore news, going to the good news, Brian Robinson somehow practiced in full today. I don't know how he did it. Somehow he did it. I'm amazed myself. If you're looking on the screen right now, here's the final Commanders and Tennessee Titans injury report right here. We can go ahead and continue with the Commanders since we're already talking about them. Again, if you look at Brian Robinson somewhere in the middle of the Commanders area dealing with the ankle injury, and remember, it was like a hamstring injury that kept him out the previous games that he's missed this season. Then the ankle injury happened in that game against the Cowboys where he ended up having to leave, but then he came back out and played, and for some reason didn't play after we came out of halftime, even though he looked good going in. But maybe the pain started to settle in from the injury. Maybe he was okay at first, then we went into halftime, he sat down, he rested a little bit, and then the pain started to just just go crazy on his ankle, so that's probably why he couldn't do it. But either way, he was a limited participant on Wednesday and Thursday. Then suddenly Friday, full participant. So I would assume that Brian Robinson does play against the Tennessee Titans because he's not even questionable. And then speaking of everybody else, Zach Ertz, rest always, not participating on Wednesday, but then he participates the rest of the week. He's good to go. Cleveland Farrell, good to go as well. And then you also have Nick Allegretti, great to go. Dante Fowler, great to go. Noah Igbenogany, Jordan McGee, and Noah Brown, all good to go on our end. And then if you look at the Tennessee Titans, they don't have too many significant injuries either, because the only players that they have out are tackle Leroy Watson dealing with a back injury, and then cornerback Chidobe Awuzie, he's also out with a groin injury, and then Tajay Spears is questionable with a concussion. And I don't know, I just don't play concussion games. If you're even questionable with a concussion, I honestly probably wouldn't play you. But he's been a full participant for the last 2 practices, Thursday and Friday, for the Titans, so maybe he will play. We'll see. But either way, neither team has any extensive injury list where a lot of guys are out. And again, Marshon Lattimore is doubtful, but he's not out. Now, before we move on to the second half of this video, this show is provided by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and if you're looking for a new sportsbook, it should be BetUS for sure, man. Y'all already know. First of all, they have the fastest payouts in the industry, and I know y'all want y'all money fast, and I know I do too. And right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YouTube 150. That's YOUTUBE 150. And they also have a fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process. It's kind of why not? Now let's take a look at some bets that we can get into directly through their website. And I wanted to get a little creative with this one. I wanted to have a little bit more fun. So as you can see on the screen right now, we're taking a look at the week 13 Sunday games. Just the 11 games that take place on Sunday. Which team will end up scoring the most points? Right now, the betting odds favorite are the Baltimore Ravens at plus 400 odds if you wanted to take that. But you also have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next in line, the Buffalo Bills next in line. Baltimore Ravens, I don't know. If I had to place a bet, I feel like they're the higher odds, but I feel like they're also the smarter odds because they're going against the Eagles, and that's probably going to end up being somewhat of a shootout. I mean, both of them have very talented defenses, but at the same time, both mobile quarterbacks, both really good running backs, and a pretty good receiving game on top of that as well. I definitely see that being a high-score game, and if you look, the Eagles are right down there at plus 1,200 odds as well. That could potentially end up being a shootout. So, just say you wanted to put $25 down on the bets on the Baltimore Ravens at plus 400 odds. You would end up winning $100, quadrupling your money from $25 to $100 if you bet that the Ravens will end up being the highest scoring team on Sunday. Mind you, the Detroit Lions already played on Thursday, so they are not included in this right here. So if you wanted to make that bet, it's right there. But of course, like I always scream at y'all to do, please gamble responsibly. Please gamble responsibly. And before we get back to this video, I just want to remind y'all again, right now BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YOUTUBE150. Now let's get back to the content that y'all pulled up for, man. Dan Quinn also has some interesting updates for the team when he spoke at his press conference earlier. Well, not today, technically Friday, November 29th practice. He said, quote, "We're an outdoor team," unquote, and is not worried about Jaden Daniels playing in the cold. And I know, of course, Jaden Daniels, Cali guy, born and raised Cali, Southern Cali, the IE to be exact, played for Arizona, played at LSU as well. May have never seen snow. I mean, I know technically they have mountains out there because, I'm almost by way of Las Vegas as well. Is born in Maryland, raised in Atlanta, spent a lot of time in Las Vegas as well. They have mountains there. Even when it was 105 degrees in Vegas, we can go up to the mountains for 70 degrees. And so basically that same logic could apply to Jaden Daniels. Did he ever go up in those mountains near the IE? I don't know. I doubt it though. I just doubt he took that trip up there to go see snow for once in his life. Either way, he's not used to playing football in those conditions because he didn't have a chance to play football in whatever mountains that are near there either way. So I can see why this may be a problem because remember, this guy has been wearing that balaclava, well, what a lot of y'all call a shiesty mask, since weeks ago when the weather was in the lower 60s, upper 50s. I forgot which game it was exactly, maybe the Bears game or something like that. It was in the 50s towards the end of the game going into nighttime. He was already wearing it. So maybe he is pretty cold. And then he also said the excuse that the reason he's still getting his ribs wrapped up during games is to stay warm. And so maybe he is cold. But Dan Quinn says I don't know if he actually believes that or if he's basically saying that there's no excuses, that we are an outdoor team regardless of the weather, and that he's not worried about Jaden Daniels playing in the cold. He's basically saying, again, he's either saying one of two things. Either he actually believes that Jaden Daniels is going to be okay, or he's saying you better be okay, no excuses. Either way, moving on, also the Commanders are only a half a game ahead of the Cardinals for the last playoff spot right now in the NFC. And we have the 3-8 Titans up next, but they looked really good against the Texans, so do not take this team lightly, but we still do control our own destiny. I really want to emphasize that. As much as it seems like the sky is falling, we control our own destiny and still have a really good chance of making the playoffs, and it's anybody's game once we get to the playoffs. Maybe by then we figure something out. Marshon Lattimore is healthy. The offense is back on track. We'll see. Who knows? I'm still excited moving forward for the rest of this year, and I hope y'all are too. Also, Sunday's captains for this upcoming Titans game are punter Tress Way, defensive tackle Sheldon Day, and quarterback Marcus Mariota. Now, Marcus Mariota obviously was drafted number 2 by the Tennessee Titans several years ago, so that one kind of makes sense. That's his former team. Maybe Sheldon Day played for the Titans at some point that I don't remember. I don't know. And then the Tress Way one confuses me as well. But going back to Marcus Mariota, man, I mean, I see what Dan Quinn is doing. But a backup quarterback as a captain, I get what he's trying to do, but I think that's too far. I definitely think that's a little too far. This guy's only played 3 and like 3/4 quarters for us all regular season. I know what you're trying to do, Dan Quinn, but I don't know. That's a little weird. Shouts out to Dan Quinn for that. And I wish because I feel like it dilutes the how meaningful being a captain is. You know, you don't necessarily have to go out there and ball out to be a captain. You just have to have somewhat of a significance. Like, I can understand Zach Ertz. First of all, he has several things over Marcus Mariota in this situation. I don't want to stay on this too long because it is a little petty, but I'm just confused because Zach Ertz is at least still technically our starting tight end on the current Commanders. And then with this previous team that he was a captain going against, the Philadelphia Eagles, he was a star for that team. He helped win. He was a big reason why they won the Super Bowl that they won. He was a Pro Bowler for that team. Marcus Mariota, even though the Titans admittingly did him super dirty, they drafted him with him being like more of like a Jaden Daniels like mode, and then tried to pigeonhole him into a Peyton Manning type of quarterback, and it just never worked out. So they did him dirty, but at the end of the day, he wasn't like this great quarterback for the Titans where it's like you gotta honor him when he plays against them or anything like that. But either way, that's what they feel like they should do. It is what it is. I'm not gonna stick on it too long because it really doesn't matter that much, but it does. I don't like the fact that being a captain going into a week doesn't really have any impact to it. Like, it's not like, oh, okay, you're a captain this week because last week you went crazy. That's not necessarily what's going on here. And then also, just to let you know, Ring of Fame wise, running back Larry Brown will be the Commanders' legend of the game in this upcoming game on Sunday. Just like last week against the Cowboys during halftime, we honored Robert Griffin III. Even with all of the shenanigans, it was still cool to see. This time, it's Ring of Fame running back Larry Brown. That's going to be amazing as well. We've already done LeVar Arrington. We've done Doug Williams and a few others. Larry Brown is up next. And then also, before we get up out of here, like most of y'all are probably waiting on, the only reason I kept this to the end is because it's just like the least relatable thing to everything else we've talked about. But shouts out to Nikki Javala for tweeting this. She pointed out the fact the Commanders linebacker Bobby Wagner needs one more tackle to reach 100 on the season and become only the second player this century with 100 plus tackles in 13 consecutive seasons. You want to know who the other player is? The only other player, London Fletcher. He did it for 14 seasons from 2000 to 2013. If that isn't a case to be a Hall of Famer, I don't know what is, because we all assume Bobby Wagner is a Hall of Famer, right? We just know first ballot, as soon as he's eligible, he's in there, no questions asked. Why is London Fletcher not in there? I'm still very confused. I've been on a big time London Fletcher should be a Hall of Famer campaign on Twitter over the past few years, and I just felt like this was the perfect time to bring it back up video wise. I may need to include it at the end of every video for like 30 seconds or something, like while I'm doing my outro. Hey, remember, London Fletcher should be a Hall of Famer. Maybe I gotta start campaigning it like that, because it makes zero sense. His stats compared to Ray Lewis's stats, Ray Lewis is the Hall of Famer, London Fletcher isn't. Insane, man. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section, let me know if you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please still on that like button, still on the subscription button, still on the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. one. I'm gonna go ahead and thank y'all for the birthday wishes, just in case if I don't get to you. I've seen a couple in previous videos that I just have not been able to find the time to get to in the comment section. I want to make sure I would love to just find the time to thank each and every one of y'all that told me happy birthday on my previous couple of videos. But I also want to just give a shout out to all of y'all that already thanked me, and some of y'all that may thank me in the future soon for my birthday. Really appreciate y'all. And also shouts out to everybody else whose birthdays are right now. I'm not the star of the show, so shouts out to everybody whose birthday was anytime between this Cowboys game up to this Titans game. Shouts out everybody. Happy birthday to y'all as well. And if you made it this far in the video, you are the real GOAT. I salute you as well. Do not leave this video without leaving a like, and also let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in the video. I really appreciate y'all. Remember that this video was sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and if you don't do nothing else, please make sure you gamble responsibly. Please make sure you do that. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.